being spent on this project. Please provide a detailed breakdown of the Fairfield Glade Community Club's expenditures in advance. He said, okay. Bruce was kind enough to answer me immediately. He says, thanks for reaching out to me. When the project was initiated, we held several meetings with the developer, Tom Anderson, concerning the scope of the project. We committed to providing $150,000 to ensure the walking paths and walking path lighting was improved since our residents use the paths all year. Since Mr. Anderson's organization was managing the entire project, we contributed the $150,000 to Mr. Anderson for the work done on the paths. The sewer work was a separate project that was done during the same time period to alleviate an issue we had with the sewer piping in the area. If you like more details, I suggest you request a form, the document request form. I submitted a notarized request form, and Bob Weber responded with the appropriate answer on the 10th of August. It said that they engaged Mike Verson in December of 19 to do a concept plan. He was a landscape architect. In April, he did a construction plan for $1,900. In July, he did an architect construction plan for $2,000. And in December of 2020, a capital contribution for $46,100 was made to Fairfield Glade Homes for Fairfield Glade Homes Land, the developer. In March of 21, $50,000 was also given to Fairfield Glade Homes Land, and in April, $50,000 was given to Fairfield Glade Lands. That's a total of $152,133. And to sum this up, in 2 years ago, in the April-May time frame, the board came forth and said they would have a community meeting where we would discuss the amphitheater, the Grove now, who was paying for it, how we going to, who was building what, and I think we better, I would request a meeting go on to say who paid for what, and also address, we're in the year 20, we need to look into the future and also we're in phase 1, we need to look in phase 2. So I hope that meets your 3 minutes requirements, but that is my request. Yes?
Did you say that the club issued a check to the developer?
Yes.
Tom, let's hold that until your time at the podium. I want to thank Mrs. Kellerman for your comments, okay? And then we'll get back to you. And if you have comments and you'd like to step to the microphone, come on up, Tom.
So Tom Ratcliffe, 157 Devonshire Drive. My question really was for clarification, Ken, on what she was stating, indicating that we contributed to the developer, we gave him a check for these improvements. My only question that I had was, did the developer provide invoices and so forth for that check? That was the question, for clarity. I'm here today, Ken, and the request, first of all, before I go through this, will you be willing to take in my comments yesterday that I made, will you be willing to just enter them into the record? Do
Yes.
I have to go through them?
No, we'll enter those into the record.
Okay. Yesterday I came before the board, and it's basically at Ken's comments at the end of last meeting, where he talked about the board being in compliance with Tennessee 501c4 disclosures, that votes are in public on financial matters that impact the community. And he also stated that opinions that differ from the board doesn't mean the board is any less transparent or engaged in nefarious activities. I infer that to a lot of the questions I've been asking over time about the county lot deal. And first of all, let me say I was not against the deal. That is not the case. What I was questioning was, number one, why it was being done at that particular time, the term of the deal, the fact that the board was not necessarily forthcoming on the potential financial impact on us, the residents, and why the board's explanations of events/facts seem to differ from that of the county mayor. And let me give you some examples of that. The board said the agreement finalized a long-standing practice, while the mayor said we had a handshake agreement. And I would also share, Mr. Mayor, you shared with me, it was a verbal agreement. The board said it believed any attempt to collect membership assessments from the county would result in an expensive and unsuccessful legal action. The mayor told the county commission that some years ago, a court ruled that counties owning these types of lots could owe POA dues under certain circumstances. The board said the county is obligated by law to conduct the county tax sales, and as a result, acquires them through default. The mayor said that with the handshake agreement, the county would continue to accept these lots that didn't sell during the first stage of the delinquent lot process. He told me verbally that the club asked him to take the lots so that they could be sold and POA assessments collected. So again, caused me to wonder what was going on, what was fact. So I began to question the financial aspect, where the dollars were being recorded on our financial statements for the assessments due from the county. Since it was only a verbal deal, verbal agreement, and according to my recollection of bylaws, we don't enter into verbal agreements. So we should have had something on our books, is what I was looking for. And I couldn't find them anywhere. As I went through information requests, I was constantly told that a lot of the information, because it was discussed in executive sessions, was confidential. So again, continued to look at the balance sheets and could find no records of where that what I call receivable was being booked. All of this, again, very unsettling, very confusing in my mind. And it just didn't happen with this board. It went back to previous boards. So I congratulate Ken in trying to clean it up. I said a few more things yesterday. I'm not going to go into those details, but I did ask the board to begin to look at our bylaws to put in specific wording prohibiting verbal or handshake deals. And if these were done, specific actions that the club attorney would take against the responsible individuals on the board and those with knowledge. And I asked them to come back today with what they discussed in that executive session, a timeline of when we would get those put before us as membership so we could review them. So, and I asked them to do that before our comments. Didn't happen, obviously. As a final point, I did put in an information request asking for the estimated amount of revenue that would have been paid to Fairfield Glade by the county during 2020 on the lots that were owned by the county. I did get that information back. There are 1,074 lots owned by the county in 2020, and the estimated revenue for that, and again, I want to be clear, I'm not suggesting necessarily that we would get that money, but we should know what it was, and I several times asked the board to put that out there, the financial impact. Didn't hear anything. The amount that was given to me for 2020 was $592,000. That's just 2020. The lots agreement wiped out previous years formally, because it was a written agreement. So my estimation, it could have been millions that we're talking about. Again, may not be able to collect it, may not want to collect it, but we should, as residents, know the full scope of this deal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Are there any other comments from the floor? Okay, board comments. We have Ms. Kellerman, to you. We appreciate the time to share your opinions and comments and your questions that you provided yesterday and today. The board has considered your comments that you made yesterday, and we will prepare and share a document that accounts for the expenditures associated with the Grove at next month's board meeting, and so it'll be made public there. Second, for Mr. Ratcliffe, we want to thank you for taking the time to share your opinions, your comments, and your questions with us yesterday and again this morning. The board has considered the comments you made yesterday, as we have done with each of your repeated appearances before the board. The board has decided that none of your comments would cause us to change any of our current procedures, nor do we feel it necessary to revisit any of our previous actions. It is important to note that while you may personally disagree with the practices of the board has been diligent in providing the membership with notice of any intended actions with the opportunity for membership to comment prior to taking actions on the changes in policies that impact the membership. The board votes in public on policy changes, financial matters, and agreements that obligate the community club. The board sees no reason to revisit any of the actions taken relating to the county lot agreement, and the board does not feel that there is a need for changes to our governing documents at this time. So we thank you for your comments. And with that, are there any other comments from members of the board? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion? Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion to adjourn is passed. We stand adjourned.